say 75 and you say 75. Our family, but our most intimate family is here tonight. We've got staff, board members, supporters, allies, volunteer leaders, and you know what? We even have Barry Lynn. Hi, Barry. It's so nice to see you. I'm so excited to be here tonight to mark AU's 75th year of existence. Woo! That is really something to be proud of for an organization. Not every organization sticks around for that long. And what we're celebrating tonight is our past 75 years and the 75 next years that we're readying ourselves for, and that AU has never been more needed to show up for. That's why we're here tonight. So right now, starting the program by introducing our board chair, Reverend Dr. Neil Jones, who's over there. Neil has been my true partner in leadership for the past 4.5 years since I showed up. He joined the AU board in 2010, became board chair in 2016, and his term, not only as board chair, but sadly on our board, is ending this November, which is very sad for all of us. Neil has shared in every joy and challenge since I got here and long before I showed up. He's collaborative, wise, funny, and committed, and the full board agrees with me that AU knows no truer friend than Reverend Neil Jones. Neil is a Unitarian Universalist minister and a practicing psychologist. Please welcome Neil Jones.
It's the only thing that matters.
You deal a lot with crazy people. Well, we are here today, of course, to celebrate our 75th anniversary. That is 75 years of protecting the principle of separation of church and state. And our leadership at AU has never been more vital than it is today, when we all know we're under assault from a well-funded, well-connected, well-organized network of power. As Rachel mentioned, it's been my privilege to have served on the board for the last 12 years and as chair for the last 6 years, alongside a CEO and president, and alongside fellow trustees. If you're a trustee, would you please raise your hand so we can see who you are? There we are. They understand. We understand, all of us here, that the wall of separation, it protects individual freedom of conscience from government intrusion on one side of that wall. And it protects the integrity of government from the manipulations of religious zealots on the other side of that wall. That wall is necessary to protect both. Well, we know we're here tonight to celebrate our 75th anniversary, but we're also here for the world premiere of a new video showcasing Americans United, our history, our fight, our future. And you are the first out of anybody to see this video. So let's roll.
Americans United has been around for 75 years, dedicated day in and day out, 24/7, to safeguarding the separation of religion and government in America.
I think one of the most important things Americans United has done over the years is made it clear that separation of church and state is not the enemy of religious freedom. Those two concepts are partners.
At its core, this is about freedom and equality, two very American principles.
America is changing. If you look at the demographics of this nation right now, you'll see a country that's just very dynamic, just as the founders intended.
Americans United fights every day for freedom without favor and equality without exception.
Religious freedom means the government won't favor any one religion.
Americans United has been involved in a lot of cases over the years. We were involved in a case in a town in Greece, New York, where we defended people who were upset that their government was opening its city council meetings with usually Christian prayers. We helped a group of parents in Dover, Pennsylvania, who were fighting intelligent design being introduced in their public school science classrooms. And we were involved in a case in the early 2000s against Judge Norr in Alabama. Melinda Maddox was willing to confront Alabama Supreme Court Justice Roy Moore over his display of a Ten Commandments monument in the judicial building in Montgomery.
At 8 o'clock in the morning on August 1st, the doors to the judicial building opened, and there was this 2.5-ton monument with velvet ropes all the way around it and guards behind each column.
It takes so much courage to be a voice, to speak up, not just for your own rights, but for the rights of so many people across this country.
When we saw it, it was an immediate, we have to do something because this is not a very inclusive monument. He had the King James version of the Decalogue, which doesn't represent any other faith.
Many of our plaintiffs have suffered from great harassment over the years.
So we get the suit filed, and then things just ramp up exponentially. People start shooting out my windows, they were vandalizing my cars. Somebody went to my yard in broad daylight, killed my animals. I had like 15 of them dead, hanging from fishing line in the trees around my house. But it was just all the time something was happening.
She was the one that was putting herself on the line every day in Alabama.
Americans United is very good at letting they make you not feel so isolated. When we got the verdict in October of 2002 that the monument had to come out, there was this one moment when we felt relief. It's like, oh wow, justice has prevailed. Americans United gave us a national face. It gave us attention. It gave us support. People all over the country then saw what we were doing, and people reached out to us and said, "You're right. You're doing the right thing. We're behind you."
We know from our work across these past 75 years that we are the watchdogs, and we will always have to be the watchdogs. And in that regard, Americans United is essential to America and to preserving the American experiment.
Religious freedom means the separation of church and state.
Today, separation of church and state is in jeopardy.
Right now in this country, we are involved in an aggressive debate about what religious freedom even means.
The problem is, of course, we've got a cultural war going on in the country.
There's nothing anti-religion about church-state separation. In fact, it's pro-everybody's religious freedom. Americans United is stronger because we bring people together across divides. Think of how unique that is in America today when we're living in such divided times.
We're really interested right now in looking at the issue of how religious freedom interacts with LGBTQ rights and reproductive freedom.
Americans United will never stop the fight. We will never stop fighting for everybody's freedom to live and believe as they choose. We will never stop fighting for the separation of religion and government, which we know is a core part of our democracy, and that America cannot succeed without preserving.
What do you think? Decent?
Yeah.
Good, good. Well, I think, and I hope that that video shows that Americans United is ready for the next 75 years. And we know that what we have to do in this moment is build power and win hearts and minds, almost more than anything. And that's what we're gearing up to do. And we also know that part of doing that is reaching a new generation of leaders. And we are laser focused on that. I'm not just saying laser because it looks like my last name. We really are. And that's why I'm so pleased to be able to present this year's David Norr Youth Activist Award. This award is named in honor of David Norr, who was a staunch supporter of the principle of church-state separation. Barry, you knew David, right? Yeah, I didn't get to know David, but I have gotten to know his daughter, who's still very much with us, Amy. And he generously supported us for a quarter of a century. And so this year's awardee is named Ramya Sinha. Did I pronounce that correctly? Ramya, thank you. Ramya Sinha. Ramya stirred up some good trouble at her school, Faith Christian Academy, when she spoke up and she spoke out on behalf of one of our clients, Greg Tucker. Greg, who was an exemplary teacher at the school in Colorado, was fired for trying to combat extensive racism against his own family and against other Black and Hispanic and Asian students at Faith Christian Academy. And Ramya was a brave and outspoken supporter of Greg. Greg sued, and AU is representing him alongside the Denver law firm Levin, Sitkoff, and Wanika. So how does Greg's story connect to our issue? It's part of a long history of religion being misused to justify racism in this country. Because what is Faith Christian Academy's defense against Greg's lawsuit in court? Religious freedom. They claim that religious freedom gives them the right to rise above the law and all judicial scrutiny. Ramya publicly condemned the racism at Faith Christian Academy and the school's unjust treatment of Greg. She and her family helped organize support for Greg when things were at their worst, and she became a target herself. Ramya went on to become the president of the Black Student Union at Chapman University, where one of our board members, Nancy Green, teaches, sitting with her right now. And Ramya helped develop an action plan for the university to do more to support Black students. She continued her efforts. Spearheaded initiatives to hold administrators accountable for actions pertaining to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And she won awards for leadership and academic excellence. I told you this is one of many awards. I see it already is, Ramya. And when AU notched another win in the Tucker case just recently, Ramya spoke out again. So in the fall, Ramya is going to start her first year of law school at the University of San Francisco School of Law, where she's excited to learn even, I'm not going to say the skills, I'm going to say even more skills that are necessary to fight for the human rights of those who are marginalized and oppressed in our communities. Friends, please show your support for Ramya.
Thank you all for having me. I'm blessed to be here, truly. I'm beyond honored to receive this amazing award. Back in 2018, during my senior year, I would have never in a million years thought that I would be somewhere like this, being awarded for my activism and my bravery. Attending Faith Christian Academy was one of the darkest and most traumatizing times of my life. Every single day, I was surrounded by a culture of white supremacy that constantly instilled in us to hate BIPOC, LGBTQ, immigrant, and Palestinian communities. This culture of white supremacy instilled in us that women are inferior to men, that sex and abortions are horribly sinful, and that we must preserve and uphold fundamentalist, white-centered Christian values at all costs. Every day, myself and my BIPOC peers were reminded of just how much we were not welcomed at that school by the amount of slurs and hate crimes we endured from our peers as well as our teachers. Their actions were never seen as a problem or met with consequence. Mr. Tucker was the only teacher in that whole school who not only believed my friends and I, but actually did something about it. I remember when I first brought up the idea of hosting a chapel on race and religion to Tucker, he joked about how that would not go over very well. Well, lo and behold, he was totally right. But what neither of us expected was just how much of a profound impact his choice to host that chapel actually made. That chapel and the events that followed not only completely exposed the wretched culture of white supremacy that the school fostered, but it also exposed months, years, and decades of harmful, abusive behavior that was continually swept under the rug by the administration and board members of both Faith Christian Academy and Faith Bible Chapel. What's been happening in our nation recently with the disgusting and inhumane removal of women's rights shows us just how much harm is done when those in power choose not to uphold the separation of church and state. All to please Jesus they've distorted to be a white Christian nationalist. Tucker's case, along with the current events, prove how much we can't stop fighting for the separation of church and state, which in turn fights for the rights of everyone. It has been so hard for me and for many of us right now to continue to find hope, to keep fighting for a better future. But hope is what got us here, and hope is what will push us further. I would like to conclude with a quote from Adrienne Marie Brown that says, "I believe that we are in an imagination battle, and almost everything about how we orient toward our bodies is shaped by fearful imaginations. Imaginations that fear blackness, brownness, fatness, queerness, disability, difference. Our radical imagination is a tool for decolonization, a tool for reclaiming our right to shape our lived reality." Thank you.
I read a quote to the board this afternoon that is one of my favorite quotes that Ramya reminds me of, which is Amanda Gorman. "There is always light, if only we could see the light, if only we could be the light." And Ramya, you are light. So thank you for all of your work. This is such a well-deserved award, and it takes courage. We know it takes courage to keep finding that voice. And Americans United is so lucky, really, to be working with so many brave young people today through our new legal academy, through our youth organizing fellowship, through our youth essay contest, through folks like Ramya who we reach out to. And that's why we know that key to our success in the future isn't just banding together and working together. We know that's key, that's for sure. But it's also building the next generation and making sure that we are learning from you all, but also giving you all the support that you need in order to lead on behalf of the rights of the people and the next generation. And that's why Americans United has developed what we're calling the Next Generation Fund in honor of our 75th anniversary. And if 75 is the magic number, by the end of the year, we just announced this in June, we're going to raise $750,000 in honor of our 75th anniversary so that we can keep fighting forward. Even if occasionally, right now, we have to lose forward, right? So we keep fighting forward. So far, since June 1st, we've already raised $325,000 for that goal. The fund is featuring and have them all learn alongside each other, build networks, and learn from the hub of the religious freedom movement. Yes, I am using the words religious. We need to reclaim those words, right? So religious freedom. Then there's our youth organizing fellowship. That's in our, we're just selecting for its third year now. The board heard from some of our youth organizing fellows today. How impressive, right? I mean, they are incredible. Where's Alicia? Is doing an amazing job on our staff organizing them. Talking about leadership that is really about empowering leaders. That's what Alicia is doing so effectively with them. They are taking off with ideas and advocacy, and I think everyone during hard times felt a breath of relief to know that they're out there. And this is building an alumni network too, alongside of our legal academy. And finally, our visibility efforts and our visibility campaigns. This year we did a massive, sorry, the microphone is going in and out, I apologize. But this year we did a massive visibility campaign around the Kennedy v. Bremerton case. Heard of that one? Yeah. But I'll tell you that we got out there. And Richard, where are you? Richard Katz. Okay, Alex and Gabby are here. I saw them. Raise your hands. And these folks are not long out of law school. And this is another part of our next generation effort, really. But this year, what we did is we chose to invest in trying to put out word about this case and make sure everyone was aware of what was going on with the Supreme Court and the return of school prayer. But we need to be able to continue this mantra of illuminating people about what's going on today, because when people hear it, they get upset and they want to do something about it. But strangely to the bubble that we live in, many people don't really know what's going on. So we are determined, again, to build power and win hearts and minds. So if you want to know more about the Next Generation campaign or support it, there are QR codes that are on the tables, just like when you order from a restaurant today. And otherwise, we are so grateful. I'm looking at a room full of church state devotees, and I'm speaking right now for the entire staff and board when I say thank you so much for sticking with us, for making us strong, and in the long term, we will succeed. Go enjoy yourselves.